About a year ago, I was close to giving up. I really nearly threw in the towel. And now, I'm so glad that I stuck it out, because I can go home and feel in a bad mood at home, come to school, and the pupils will put me in a good mood, the lesson will put me in a good mood. And for the right person, it is a wonderful job, and I'm really looking forward to the next few years, hopefully far into the future. What are you giggling at? Have I got some on my face?
The first year of teaching is renowned for being the toughest in the job. We've asked 3 newly qualified teachers to capture their experiences and emotions over the 12 months in a blog, and then return at the end of the year to update it with the benefit of hindsight. Laura Wilson teaches English at Ilkley Grammar School near Leeds. Adam Otway teaches history at Manor School in York. And Michaela Simpson teaches modern foreign languages at Rossett School in Harrogate.
Just got home from my first day of school. What a day. It has been a complete blur. I can't remember anything about the first few lessons. I think the adrenaline was getting me through. I've managed to remember a few names, I think, but they're all just a sea of faces at the moment. The staff seem really friendly. My department have been really welcoming and supportive. I really hope I can get to know some of them more. I'm still a bit nervous about some of my classes, but I'm sure I'll be fine once I get to know them. I can't wait to go back tomorrow. My first day of school, I don't really remember very much about it. I think because the adrenaline is just so pumping around you, and you've been building up and building up to it for so long. It really, until you're in the classroom with the children, you can't possibly preempt what you're going to have to do. I just remember feeling so proud of myself. You know, that first lesson, you know, the first day, you know, you're a proper real teacher, and you just feel like this huge sense of achievement. This is what it was all about, that first day, and that's really so important to have.
Fantastic, well done.
My top tips for my first day of school, if I could go back in time, I think the first thing would definitely be to be prepared, have loads of things at your beck and call, so puzzles, quizzes, games, icebreaker activities that really get the kids talking to each other and talking to you as well. You find out all bits of information. Anything you can find out about your kids before you teach them or during those first few weeks, just kind of soak it all in. Things like who's on the special needs register, dyslexia, gifted and talented, all of those things really help you to know how to plan your lessons. Third thing I would say is writing lists is really something that I got into. Things like taking the register, which sounds really, really stupid, but I forgot all the time, and it is something that you need to remind yourself to do. And lastly, I think just wear something that you feel completely comfortable in, you know, a skirt, pair of shoes. You need to feel confident really on your first day.
My first parents' evening today. I'm quite nervous about this one. It's one thing to have to handle pupils, but parents who are in every case much older than myself is going to be tough. I don't expect too many problems because the parents that I've met so far have been very friendly and helpful. However, I will be quite lucky not to get at least one awkward question. There aren't really any particular questions that I'm worried about. It's just that some parents might feel slightly aggrieved that their child hasn't perhaps received the grade that was expected of them. My first parents' evening, I was very nervous to begin with. The whole being very young, looking very young, thinking now I'm going to be sat here in front of parents who are asking me advice on their children, and I'm, hopefully, a long way from being a parent myself. So I was just wondering how they would take advice, and perhaps if they'd be a bit sceptical or wary that they've got a young teacher in charge of their children. I shouldn't really have had any worries. The parents that I'd met were very friendly, talkative, helpful. The only slight problems came with people having questions about the reports. There was a pupil who had written about his homework and on his report, and his parents had not understood what had been written there. They couldn't work out why I'd written it. And I would admit that perhaps I'd not made it clear enough, but also I needed to explain myself a bit better at the parents' evening. I didn't have the homework there in front of me, which made it quite tricky when I'm trying to explain something. It would have made it far easier if I could have said, yeah, look, at the start of the year his homework wasn't very good, he's improved and now he's doing very well, and that's why on the report I couldn't give him outstanding for homework, because all year it hadn't been outstanding. If I was to update my blog with regards to parents' evenings, I would say make sure you've got the data there to hand, organised and prepared. Make sure you've got some examples of the pupils' work so you can show them, you can talk about why you've written things in reports, etc. And thirdly, make sure you understand that you're in for the long haul. And if it's warm or cold, you've got to dress appropriately and have something to drink or something to perhaps nibble on in between seeing parents.
1st of December, end of first term. We're all on Christmas. I'm so tired and I can't believe I've got another set of books to get through. Not to mention the fact that I've got to make tea when I get home and then start another hour of work for tomorrow. I don't think I'll get it all done and I'm tired of family moaning, but what can I do? This is what teaching's about. I hope it calms down because I can't carry on like this. I never realised how much the first term would take it out of me. Thinking back to the beginning of the year and after the first term, I was just so tired and all I was doing was working and you know, I wasn't thinking about anything else but getting things prepared and marking my books, and everybody was saying, you know, you can't do it, you've got to stop, you make yourself ill. So I just started to make my decision, work till whatever time at school and then don't do anything at home, or leave early after you finish school, go home, have a rest and then do a bit more, but only so much, and set yourself a deadline, because I'd just keep going, that one more book, and before you know it, that's another hour and a half. And I realised I don't have to do it all in the book. You know, we've got these whiteboards that we use at school all the time, and everybody else was using them, and I was still putting things in the book because I felt like I had to see the work in there for proof that they'd been working. Whereas now I use the whiteboards a lot more and they enjoy it, and I can see straight away what they've produced and if they're getting it. My mum and dad are going to go to Spain by plane en el futuro. Muy bien. Although I did know that I needed to sort out this work-life balance, it was really hard back then. But eventually, once I realised that it's not going to happen the whole year, I couldn't have done it. I'd have probably wanted to leave in the end and stop being a teacher. I realised I just had to start prioritising other things, and my evenings are my evenings now, whereas before it was completely school. Looking back at my blog now, if I were going to give some top tips on how to get your work-life balance, I'd say set yourself a cut-off point and stick to it. Get in early rather than working late, and relax when you're not working on something to do with school.
I've been sent home from school with a crippling migraine, can barely talk or function. I feel so guilty about missing parents' evening though. I feel like I'm letting everyone down and everyone is going to be really annoyed with me. I even tried to do some work earlier, but I just couldn't see straight, so I've had to pack everything away and just try to get some sleep. I really, really hope I'll be okay tomorrow. I don't want to miss another day of school. I just got a migraine and just crippled me. I just couldn't string a sentence together. I would have probably tried to carry on, but obviously other members of staff pick up on the fact that you're not well, you're not yourself, and the more that you carry on, the worse it's going to get. So I was sent home. Once I'd actually got home, I felt so bad I wanted to do some work, but again, you just can't focus when you're in that situation, when you've got a migraine so bad. And I just had to say, do you know what, Laura, you are ill, you're going to have to just give up, go to bed. Walked into school the next day and everything was pretty much normal as I left it. So, you know, no one had fled the site screaming, oh my God! Everything was fine, and the students were fine. They'd gotten on with the work really well, and everybody was just concerned really about how I was feeling, which was really nice. And I guess it takes that to realise just, you know, people do care about you and stuff, but equally everyone's happy to just carry on as normal without you. So all that stress and worry and guilt, I could have just gone to sleep and forgotten about it really, which is maybe what I should do next time. Top tips for the first time you feel ill. Just go home, get yourself better, forget about the marking and concentrate on yourself really. Don't feel guilty because everyone is plodding along nicely without you. The bells will still go, the lessons will still happen, and the children will not miss you in the slightest.
I can't believe that I spent nearly 2 hours perfecting that lesson. What a waste of my time. I could have been relaxed on the sofa. I can't stand it when the PC fails after such an effort, and the kids could tell that I was just making it up on the spot. The behaviour showed it too. I wish I'd thought of something that didn't really rely on the PC so much, because now I feel like I've just wasted an evening that I could have spent with my fiancé or with my family. When I'd been, you know, planning my lessons and they were all around the whiteboard and everything, and that's what I'd been used to, and one particular lesson it all failed, and I thought, what am I going to do with the kids? You know, they were used to always having these PowerPoints, so I started using different kind of activities, getting them up, getting them involved, things like that didn't take any kind of necessarily planning on the computer. I just knew that I needed to have that. Something like splodge, for example, my big squidgy animal thing that's, you know, a little bit spiky things, and they love it. You just question and answer, or whatever you feel like doing, chuck it to them, ask them a question in the foreign language, for my case. They chuck it back and say what they want to say, and they love it. They can't wait to have it. It lights up when you shake it, and they love it.
¿Cómo vas a ir a España?
Voy a en avión.
Excelente.
On my dice, I could quickly just grab my dice out, draw a couple of dice on the board, so they really work well with them, and I have them now. They're like my tools, secret tools. Looking back to my blog, if I was to give 3 top tips, I'd say don't panic, get the pupils involved in lesson planning, and have something that's generic, that doesn't involve IT, that you can use with any topic.
I'm about to go into my final lesson observation of the year. I'm a little nervous, especially because I'm going to be dressed up. It's not that I haven't dressed up during lessons before, however this costume is outrageous, even by my standards. I don't expect it to go wrong, but if it does then I will feel very silly. I've had a great year and one more good lesson observation will top it off nicely. Over the last 2 years I've been through a lot, and I just remember a little over a year ago at one point I was thinking, is teaching actually for me? I didn't seem to be doing the job that I thought teaching was. To me it was boring and it was stressful, but since having my own classroom, being my own teacher with my own classes, I mean, I feel like I've learned so much more, and I've grown in confidence. So I thought with my last observation I'll really try to pull out all the stops and do the best possible observation I can.
I suppose you're taking one look at me and thinking, this guy's a man to know. He's the man about town. He's the bee's knees. Fancy clothes, gorgeous hair, brilliant shoes.
With lesson observations, it's often difficult to take the criticism. Sometimes you can take it personally and you can be left thinking, did I really do that badly? But they've got the experience, they've been through all that. And I've learned, as the years gone by, that I've got to take this advice on board and use it again. Looking back on the lesson, I was very pleased with how it went. I was very happy with the feedback. I've learned, as the years gone on, that you've got to put the effort in. And although it took me hours to get all the resources and to iron out all the lesson, it was worth it.
It was absolutely fantastic. Do you know what I've got now? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Diddly squat. It's all gone. I've lost everything.
If I was going to update my blog, looking back, my 3 top tips would be to vary your lessons, do something a bit different. It captures the attention, it captures their imagination, and it keeps them on task in the lesson, if anything. Also, be confident in what you're doing. If you can't feel confident, certainly at least try and appear confident, act confident, and it will have an effect on your lesson. And finally, when it comes to the end of the lesson, take the feedback on board, and you might just learn something that you can use forever. It doesn't matter that you're all different, because you've all explained yourselves so well. That's absolutely brilliant.